Ashton, cut your hat. All right, now, so... I'm just kidding. Come on, guys, give me a little credit. Do you really think I would wear something like that when I got this beauty? Much better. Hey y'all, Boogie Knight here. How's it going? And we are halfway through with our Ninjarch tribute. Yes, Ninjarch. It's the month of March, and I'm watching nothing but ninja movies this month. Not creative, but I'm running on lack of sleep. Shut up. So, we've seen some zany movies so far this month. We've seen Ninja Terminator, and let's face it, you can't really say Godfrey Ho without having to laugh because of how zany it is. And the acid trip, that was Monkey King with 72 Magic. So, to switch it up a little bit, Morgus gave me a really good recommendation for the next flick in this series, and I sat down and watched it yesterday, and ooh, it was a good one. It was a good one. Now, I'm talking about American Ninja. Now, does it split the atom? God, no. Is it a bad movie? Hell no way. This is a 1985 action-exploitation film that, for all intents and purposes, if I didn't know that it was directed by Sam Furstenberg, I could have easily sworn it was a Bruno Mattei movie and not have been any of the wiser. Which is not a bad thing, because Bruno Mattei can pull off action-exploitation movies like it's nobody's business. This movie was... It's hard to describe, I think mainly just because I've seen so many bad, strange movies recently, that something as straightforward and streamlined as this, it kind of makes you stop and go, wait, what? It's that easy? Okay, we'll go with it. But first of all, what you need to know about this movie is you get to see Michael Dudikoff kick so much ass. It is fantastic. From the start, when you see him... And I'm going to go over the plot in a nutshell. I'm not going to go over too many spoilers because it's definitely worth going out and getting. You can get it on Amazon stupid cheap. I think I got mine for like $6 or $7. You can get it through Amazon Video, eBay. If you like just good old-fashioned blow stuff up, running around in the forest, just once again seeing Michael Dudikoff be a badass, it's worth going to see. It doesn't require much mental energy, nor do you feel like you had done some drugs by the end of it. I.e. Monkey King, and the next a couple of movies that are coming up that I plan to see. Ooh. So, paper thin plot, so you don't go see it for the plot, you go see it for the action. I mean, right out of the gate when you start, you see Michael Dudikoff as Private Joe Armstrong. Yeah, real original name there, movie. Just flicking around with a butterfly knife and just hanging out. I mean, he's not trying to be like the Jets from the beginning of West Side Story. It's just he is... Mr. Cool and distant. He's the loner type. He doesn't care. And it's not just because he thinks he's a badass, even though he is. It's the whole backstory of this guy. Long story short, Private Armstrong has no memory of his past. He has amnesia. He's been bounced around, but he has ninja skills. And I'm not just talking like he is doing the whole, Taekwondo for show or anything like that. No, he knows how to kick ass and he's good at it. I mean, he is just the strong, silent type, doesn't really give a shit about the rest of people. He's there for the mission. And then you find out more of his backstory after that he was convicted for something, and like most action movies, it was either join up and enlist with the Corps or go to jail. Take your pick. Yeah, he took the Corps. So it was kind of like he was strong-armed into it, but since he has no backstory, including the fact that the military did an extensive background check, like military people usually do when they're trying to conscript somebody, yeah, okay, once again, that's not something I would believe, but once again, very reminiscent of Bruno Mattei, and I'm cool with it. So, I mean, it starts out with a convoy leading a colonel's daughter, I guess, to the airport in some seedy backwater jungle country. It was never explained. I mean, I want to say it's somewhere in the South Pacific because of the palm trees, and then there's actually a mix of both Asian ninjas and Latinos. So I'm not really sure. Let's just go and say the South Pacific, because let's face it, Tales from the South Pacific was fantastic. But why do you need a convoy to lead a colonel's daughter to the airport? It's an action movie. You don't need to ask these questions. Just sit back and enjoy it. So what starts off as kind of a simple hijacking from, I guess, rebels or guerrillas, freedom fighters, not the animals. And Private Armstrong, rather than just submit, decides he wants to go out and kick ass. And then it leads to so many other things. So it builds up from there. So it's more of a series of subplots that's rolled into one. But the more you uncover, the more fascinating it is. And the more enjoyable it is. I mean, yeah, he's kicking people. He's throwing rocks at people. It's very reminiscent of a Godfrey Ho film in the sense that he makes use of his surroundings, where he's like picking up rocks and chucking them at people or kicking them around or just doing crazy shit. I mean, it's worth seeing. It's definitely great. And rescues the Colonel's daughter because she almost gets kidnapped by the rebels. But then in come the ninjas. Honestly, when I was sitting back, I'm like, wait, what? What do the ninjas have to do with guerrillas and rebels trying to steal military trucks and military stuff and the Colonel's daughter? And you get to that later on. So there is, long story short, there is a multi-millionaire on the island who also does some sort of weird, shady deals. I want to say black market, but it's never explained. All I know is that he meets with a lot of hinky people and accepting money for certain things like stolen military stuff. I'll say black market. That's just my guess. But Michael Dudikoff rescues the Colonel's daughter, returns her to the Colonel, who, instead of being thankful because he lost a couple of soldiers in the hijacking when they all decided to rebel and fight. Let's think. Lie down and get shot, fight for our lives. Yeah, I'm going to fight for my life right there. And if I get killed, well, at least I went down fighting instead of going down on my knees. He gets court-martialed, he gets the lowest ranks, and then on top of it, even though he saved the lives of more people, the other soldiers decide to get pissed off at him because they lost a few bodies. And enter Steve James, who is easily my favorite character in this movie because, no offense to Michael Dudikoff as Joe Armstrong, he had no personality. He literally is just a machine for serve, protect, and kill. It wasn't until 10 minutes into the movie when he actually said more than 2 words, but I digress. But Steve James, his character Jackson, tries to fight him off to be like, hey, I lost some buddies because you're an asshole. They get into a fight, but somehow, because after Joe Armstrong beats Jackson's ass, it turns into what I can only describe as a buddy cop movie. It really was kind of like watching another version of Pierre Kirby if he was teamed up with Richard Harrison from Ninja Terminator, which would be the greatest buddy cop movie I have ever seen. Anyway, what you get to know about these characters is that the black market guy has a sergeant who works on the base with the military people, with Joe and Jackson on his payroll, and basically, once again, I don't know why he's stealing equipment, but he's a multimillionaire. There's one scene in the middle of it when I thought he was going to just channel Mufasa from The Lion King and go, everything the light touches is our kingdom. Because he literally says, everything you see on this island belongs to me. Does that include the military base? Well, you've got the sergeant on your payroll, and I think he has the colonel on his payroll, but it's once again never explained. So, because Joe knows ninja moves, and there's one scene where the sergeant is having dinner with the black market, whose name is Ortega, by the way, and it's the same area where the colonel's daughter is having dinner with Joe, who went AWOL, by the way, because he's confined to base due to his court-martial. And Ortega knows next to nothing of this guy, but he just thinks, kill him. Okay, simple enough. Oh, and one other thing that I forgot to mention is Ortega has an army of ninjas at his disposal called the Black Star Ninjas, which you can tell by their cute little facial tattoo of a throwing star on their cheek. Once again, not explained why he has ninjas when he could just have a death squad with guns. But once again, I'm overanalyzing the situation. This is a very simple, cut and dried action movie. So, he tries numerous times unsuccessfully, the sergeant, by the way, to get Joe killed. But let's not forget, Joe has ninjutsu skills. He knows how to kick ass. He can definitely, jump off roofs. He can steal cars. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing. And frankly, if I was Ortega or the sergeant, being the fact how much trouble Joe gets himself into and still manages to come out clean on the other side, I would just be like, you win. I wash my hands of this. I'm not going to bother. You're more trouble than you were. Just get out of here. And there's definitely some shenanigans in the movie later on. I mean, you have Jackson and Joe kind of sparring with each other and making snide remarks. I mean, there's scenes where he steals he takes Jackson's motorbike to get off base, even though Jackson's like, well, I don't know, man, that's my baby. I don't know. I'm like, dude, let him go. Let him have some fun. The guy's got as much personality as a spoonful of rice pudding. But you know what? Once again, I'm not trying to parse through this. I mean, so it basically becomes one big battle with Joe trying to find out what Ortega's deal is. Ortega wants Joe dead. Joe gets locked in the brig. Ortega sends assassins, even though he's already on lockdown. Apparently that's not enough. So Ortega sends ninja assassins, and Joe still manages to beat said assassin and escape. So finally Ortega says enough is enough. He has his top ninja guy, who really looked creepy because his eyes were bright red. He actually looked a lot like Mola Ram from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and tried to arrest him. He escapes again. Master Ninja goes after him, and Joe escapes, and they kidnap the Colonel's daughter. But then also all throughout this, you learn about how Joe knows the ninja skills. I wouldn't exactly call it a Deus Ex Machina, but it's more thinking like, there's no way this just could have happened unless it was anticipated. Ortega has a silent gardener who tends to a lot of the lily pads and the Asian style, I guess, water plants, who never says a word, but you find out during Joe's escape in the movie that he basically was Joe's adopted father, taught him ninja skills, and the only reason they got separated was because of a bomb blast that knocked Joe unconscious and gave him the amnesia. So somehow that wasn't explained. The silent gardener, who can talk, by the way, he just didn't talk to Ortega, somehow they two met up, and he basically was kind of like the watchful figure and made sure that Joe didn't get any more trouble than he already did. Great watchful skills, dude. With all the stuff that Joe has gotten himself into, yeah, he could have won a Darwin Award on numerous occasions. But there's so many gun battles and explosions throughout this, culminating, by the way, when Joe kills the Master Ninja trying to kill him with his own ninja skills, saves the Colonel's daughter, and kills Ortega. Yeah, I know I'm glossing over a lot of points, but once again, there is no real plot to this. You get to see some badass ninja skills, you get to see some occasional shenanigans between the buddy cops, between Joe and Jackson, and you get to see ninjas. That's all you need to know about this movie. It's a good romp. It's just a good movie if you want to turn your brain off. You had a lousy day, or you need something that's just to kind of boost you back up into that. You go watch this movie. It's not Citizen Kane, it's not Casablanca, but then again, it's not Monkey King, and it's not a Godfrey Ho movie. It's just a good 80s action film. You don't go watch True Lies or Commando because you expected to break the mold. You go to see Arnold Schwarzenegger just kick ass, and that's the same case with this movie. So, I know this review is a little bit briefer than my other stuff, but honestly, there's really not much to talk about. If you like action-exploitation films, if you like stuff blowing up, if you like ninjas, this is the movie for you. If you want something a little more highbrow, I would advise against this, but really good movie. Morgus, thank you so much for recommending it to me. I'm probably going to watch it again this weekend. But with that in mind, we got 2 more reviews coming up for Ninjarch. One really awesome one I cannot wait to watch. I'm going to see that on Wednesday, and then one other one to round things out. So with that in mind, y'all have a wonderful evening, and I'll catch up to you guys on the flip side, all right? Peace.